everybody, welcome to another video. I hope everybody's doing great. Today I wanted to ask you guys a question and show you some cards I picked up recently. Got a couple of things I just opened up and ready to go, but I wanted to ask you guys a question about the hobby. It kind of gets me. Almost every time I see something pertaining to the hobby, more and more, it has less to do with me. And, everybody has their buckets in the hobby. Some people have one bucket, like they only collect Dwight Gooden. Or some people collect only Pittsburgh Pirates. Some people have multiple buckets. I tend to. I'm a baseball history guy. I love baseball. So I have, tobacco cards are one bucket for me. Vintage cards are a bucket for me. Junk wax, of course, the era I grew up in. 90s inserts are a bucket. Even some modern, and of course the players that I PC or whatever. But I feel like more and more the things that I see on Topps is X or, their Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and all these posts and stuff I see from the manufacturers. I'm not talking about the people in the hobby. I know that there are still people that collect cool stuff, and it's just, I feel like from the manufacturing end, from the influencer end, it's the same slop that we're getting. Let me just show you guys something. I just picked up this beautiful 1968 Tom Seaver. I'm trying to get a bunch of cards now that I've had for a long time, but I really want nicely centered ones. Here's also a really amazing card, man. Gary Carter. My Uncle George, who put me onto baseball cards when I was a boy, pointed Gary Carter out to me when I was a kid and said, that's somebody to watch. That's a great player right there. And I'll continue with my thoughts here. So what do you guys think? Do you feel like that? In one regard, it's kind of like, well, it doesn't matter. I don't care about like new stuff if you don't, or I don't care about Topps now, or some 101 superfractor that no one's gonna get. They only talk about like this tiny percentage of the hobby, and of course the breakers are getting nicer cards than everybody else. I mean, that's apparent. And if it's really not true, the perception is there. The perception is reality. So people look at that and they get turned off by it. And it's easy to say, yeah, well, who cares? I only collect vintage, or I only collect 90s inserts, or I only collect Roberto Clemente. That's fine. But if you want this hobby to succeed and thrive and stay around, if you're collecting now and you just started and you're a kid, you have a totally unlevel playing field that we had when we were kids, right? You bought a box. I used to save up, buy a box of wax, and open the whole thing. And sometimes I didn't get that Don Mattingly, but like I knew I could. And of course there weren't parallels and, numbered cards and all that stuff back in the day, but it was like, if I bought modern cards, I could pull the same, Don Mattingly rookie that anybody else does. So here's another one I picked up this week. I absolutely love this card. It's always been one of my favorites. And here's the auto version, which, it's super bad centered, but just an incredible auto. Like, look at how nice that auto is on that. And better color, the whole thing. But still, I like this card almost better in a way. Much cheaper. And let me open up a couple more. Sorry, I'm doing like a kind of going crazy tonight, talking about something and then going off to this. But here is a beautiful 69 Carew. Here's another one I could never, find a really nice centered one in a good price up until recently. And I've been digging on 1969 recently. I recently was just getting all the 1971 cards that I love in nice grades. I finished it off with a Clemente, and I still have a bunch to send to PSA. And that's the first time I'm seeing that card. And here's another one that I haven't seen yet. And this is a really nice one too. Love this card. Man, so cool. 69's great. A young Joe Morgan, the best second baseman ever to do it, in my opinion. Beautiful card, centered nicely. So yeah, I've been in my buckets, as it were, collecting the stuff I love, and that's, you know, that's fine. And yeah, we all know that. But in order for the hobby to stay relevant, I think it's important that something has to happen. The prices are too absurd. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. Who knows? But, you know, so goes the hobby. When the economy's slayed, so's the hobby. You know, it's just what it is. And you could point out COVID, but people had a ton of money during COVID, and people were making more money. Some people were making more money during COVID than they ever did in their lives, you know. Anyway, I hope you guys are well. Sorry to babble a bit, but it's something I think about, and I do appreciate and think about the things that you guys say. So anyway, interested in hearing your thoughts. I'll see you next time.